Hello everybody, Jesse Schreck here with Practical Missions Cohort, and today we're bringing another question with another answer, something that's very useful for those of you who are considering missions in the future, be it short-term, long-term, even apprenticeship, things like this. So stay tuned, and we're going to hear this question for today, which is relevant to our times in the current pandemic.
Preziosa per me è la tua parola, è come un tesoro.
Okay, so the question we have today comes from someone considering full-time and long-term missions, a couple that is interested in getting themselves into Italy, serving in Italy full-time, long-term, helping out with church planting. And the question is this: as you have been processing the current situation, and that current situation in this case is the pandemic, the global pandemic, and having to cancel the mission cohorts for this summer as well as the internships for this summer, what is your vision for future missionaries to Northern Italy? What is your vision for future missionaries to Northern Italy? So it's a good question, and it does bring out a sad reality that, unfortunately, as a ministry, we had to cancel a number of things that we had scheduled for this summer. And for us, that's really a heartbreaking thing, because for a number of years, we've been praying for what we're about to experience this summer. That is, we had two different cohorts lined up, groups of at least 8 people coming to do evangelistic work together with us and help the church plants. Very excited about all the different aspects about that. And again, soon I hope to do another podcast episode, video episode, also telling about what that looks like in detail, how that works, and how you can be a part of it. But I may just link in the show notes here to, I think we did at a previous time, a short talk on what that entails and what that looks like and what that could look like for you and your church. In any case, it's true, we had to cancel those cohorts scheduled for the summer, evangelism teams, and also our interns that were scheduled for the summer to come for 6 weeks. Now, Lord willing, those guys will be coming either next summer or the interns perhaps even in the fall, depending how the pandemic goes. But that's our current situation, and they mentioned that here. But the future, what does it look like for missionaries to Northern Italy, our vision for that? And I would say our vision and our need has not changed at all. Still, the reality of Italy is 99% unreached. Less than 1% are evangelicals, especially here in the northern parts of Italy. Town after town with zero evangelical witness. Of the few and scattered evangelical churches, there are few, even more, that are biblical and healthy churches with a sound doctrine and these kinds of things. So the need is always very great here. Nothing has changed in that regard. So do we need missionaries still? Absolutely. And I would say the more time goes by and the worse the pandemic gets, the more we need more missionaries to be here, living in the light of the gospel, proclaiming the gospel, making disciples, and doing all the other things necessary for biblical church planting to be happening and Italian men to be trained in pastoral ministry for the future. So nothing has changed in that regard. Now, what we can say here is we'll have to wait and see, though, the effect that this pandemic is going to have on the global economy. So we've all been hit. In America, 30 million or more, I guess, people have been lost their jobs, and that's a serious reality. But what that all means, after the virus passes, or at least the first wave, hopefully there won't be a second, but there could be a second or even a third wave. Here in Italy, for example, today they're reopening phase 2 now. They're beginning to allow people to do a little bit more. Still, everyone needs to wear masks and gloves and all this kind of stuff, and most things are still closed. But there's this phase process, and all of it is unknown, uncharted waters. So we'll have to see what that looks like here. And again, in America, where there's, I think, almost 1 million more cases in America than any other country in the world. So really serious situation over there in America. Plus there's protesting and people are getting back out, and maybe the situation was never really resolved. And if people start moving around again, then it'll just blow up into another wave of viruses and deaths and all this. So there's a lot going on in regards to us planning for the future, especially with that reality that economically, we don't even know what this all means yet. I mean, there's talk of trillions of dollars, and people can't even comprehend what does it mean, trillions of dollars. That's a serious amount of money and all kinds of things going on. And there could be serious job loss. There could be all kinds of things. So us as missionaries, we're on the field, and we're going to do our best by God's grace to stay on the field. That may mean we have to bunker down, and we already live very frugal, but we may have to get even more frugal. We may have to sell a few things. We may have to downsize into a mini apartment. We don't know yet. We're going to see in the coming months and year here what the global economic hit of this all will be. But I say that because when it comes to future missionaries and so on, if you're not on the field already, it's going to be really hard, I imagine, to get on the field in the next year or two because of what could potentially come as a result of this fallout. Now, that may not be true in all areas, so it could not happen this way, but something to be thinking about. If you're on the field, do your best, I would say, wherever you are, to stay there and ride this thing out. If you're not on the field, though, you have to, and you want to get on the field, you got to be considering: is this the best time to get there? Is my church going to be able to support me? Are people we know who would support us normally still going to have their jobs? There's a lot of things up in the air. So at this point, we need to wait it out and see what this next year or two is going to look like, and the ripple effects of this major fluctuation in the global financial aspect of the economy. So it could prove difficult, though, for new missionaries to be raising support in this time. But we're hopeful, even so, that some folks will find a way to get here and join in on the mission, and God can always make a way. So for us, what does it look like for us? The future for missionaries here, the need is still here, absolutely. Could be hard for us to see new missionaries coming in the next year or two, but we're hopeful, and we're praying, and we're seeking God's guidance. That's the important thing. In the meantime, for us, we carry on. We still have, we can't reach as many people as we want to, but we still have evangelism to be doing, discipleship to be doing, and church planting. All these things, nothing changes for us. The need for the gospel to be proclaimed, disciples made, churches planted, all remains, and we just carry on by His grace and for His glory. But hopefully those interns that we had will be able to come here in the fall and lend a helping hand and help get some other things going, different aspects of the ministry. If not this fall, hopefully they'll be able to get here next spring. And hopefully those teams that were scheduled, those cohorts for this summer, will be able to reschedule for next summer, and everything just goes on hold. And that would be our desire, to see those guys get here next summer, and the enthusiasm and help that they bring would just be delayed a little bit, but still happen. So interesting question, interesting times. No sure, firm answers for this one. But you, like us, we look to the Lord, and we're going to wait and see how things go. In the meantime, whatever plans we do have, we prayerfully and we carry on with what we know we need to do in the meantime, and we keep our eyes on the Lord and trust His guidance, because He loves His people more than we ever could. He loves His church more than He ever could, and He wants to support His mission of seeking and saving the lost even more than we can. So we look to Him in this time. Thanks for the question, though. Until we have another question with another answer. Ciao, ciao. God bless.